All right, so this is the final board position after 2 whole turns. That's all it takes to play the Rhine scenario, which is scenario 2 from Conquest of Gaul, Great Battles of History. Now, before you say, wow, that quick, I should say it's both turns took a long time to play out. There's a lot going on. You have a lot of tribal leaders on the Germanic side. You have, what, 6, 7, 8 legates plus Caesar on the Roman side. So it takes a while to work through all of the activations, momentum. There's a lot of back and forth. It definitely felt very much touch and go for the Romans, as Ariovistus' army was they were just on the cusp of breaking through. And I feel like if you can break one legion and get one of the eagles, they can win through the ordinary victory method. But as it turns out, the final route tally is pretty heavy in the Roman favor. So we have 207 route points, withdraw points for the Germanic side, and we have 68 route points for the Romans. The Roman cavalry got beat up pretty bad by the Germanic cavalry on the final turn. Only 2 lancers are surviving. Over on the other side, there was no cavalry facing the Romans on the other side. They were able to get some. They were able to do some damage over there to the Germans. They set up actually behind the line, and so they were able to get involved and do some wreak some havoc on the Germans. These guys down here, I don't know if I handled them as good as I should have, as I could have handled them. I may have misplayed these guys. It didn't explore their full capability. I was playing with the optional Germanic cavalry deployed with their light infantry rules, which are very incomplete, shall we say. Very Richard Berg-esque in the sense that you're kind of left to try to figure things out on your own as to what he really intended with the rules for the Germanic cavalry. But I just played that to the best of my ability, and kind of feel like I should have separated the two and used them instead of keeping them stacked the whole time. It might have been a better play to separate them a little bit, because that might have been able to get more flank attacks and do away with the Roman cavalry faster. Then maybe they could have hit the 10th Legion with some pretty devastating results on that final go. But as you can see here, that didn't quite pan out. Now, having taken a look at all of the conditions here, there's quite a lot of Germanic cavalry that is in good order. They're in good condition. The Roman legions are pretty scattered. There's a lot of confusion on the battlefield. The German infantry is falling back in disarray, and they're no more. Now, Ariovistus is still alive, and he probably escapes from this battle. His cavalry guard will help get him back home and across the Rhine. So I would referee this as a Roman victory for sure, but not as complete perhaps as the historic event that Caesar was able to win. Caesar in the battle, he performed pretty good. He was able to trump at a very key moment and was able to turn the tide of the battle using his elite rules. Without the elite rules, the elite activation, this might have been a different outcome conventionally. So that's how he performed. Ariovistus performed very well in the battle, considering that his forces are just not, you just can't command them with the efficiency that the Romans can. So he's at a leadership disadvantage. Given that, he still performed pretty well. Having said that, I should have perhaps gotten him more involved on the cavalry side so as to make full use of these guys late in the turn. Instead, I marched him the wrong direction, thinking that the game could go 3 turns, and in reality it was done quite handily in 2 turns. So that is the outcome of the battle. And there is one other thing. I've toyed around with a number of schemes to perhaps find a way to make this into a game. If you play this battle in the Commands and Colors Ancients series, any of the battles you play in Commands and Colors, you're going to have a reasonably fair chance to win with either side. There's a few battles that might feel slightly out of balance, but for the most part, my experience with that system is they're pretty well balanced, and either side can win. That's not the case with Great Battles of History. The designer set this up to represent, what happened in the battles and to explore why did these battles work out the way they did. that makes perhaps for a very interesting, historical study, but maybe less satisfying if you want to play it competitively as a game. For that reason, they have a route bid mechanism, but if you're new to the game, you really don't know how much should I bid to play a certain side. So I've always looked at different schemes that might work to balance things out a little bit. Now, next battle I really wanted to get on the table was Gergovia. I have not played Gergovia. I've had it punched for years, and I was hoping to get this one on the table next. I was just kind of thumbing through it, and I realized that they have a victory point scheme in this battle. And so I'm looking at a variation of that. I just started to kind of work the math out for this particular battle. And I've come up with a scheme that might just do the trick. I need to develop it a little bit further. But if I use that system, then even though the Romans rout the Germans off and win historically, by a victory point scheme I've designed, borrowing some concepts from Gergovia, this would be a slight Germanic victory. But I need to tinker with that a little bit more. I need to run it through some other the Gallic battles, and then I got to see if that particular scheme would port over to other battles in this system that seems slightly out of balance, and we'll go from there. But definitely a fun game to play, and we'll see how Caesar does against Vercingetorix.